The harder thing to do is to be able to talk about side chains. That's where people mostly mess these up. So let's go through a few different examples of side chains. So here's my butane, but now let's put a methyl side group on my second carbon. So we've got our carbon, and it has its 3 hydrogens on it. So we just write that next to it. We've then got the second carbon with 1 hydrogen on it. But now we've also got this methyl group. So I show that by writing the CH3, but I need something to show that this is a side group. And the way we show it's a side group is by wrapping it in brackets. So some people draw their brackets like this. But the problem with that is it looks a bit like a carbon and you might get marked down for it. So if I'm doing a structural formula, I always be a bit silly and draw them like that. That way there's no shadow of a doubt in the examiner's mind that that is a bracket. You're not going to mistake that for a carbon. And so I've so far got up to here, so then I just move on to my next carbon, CH2, and then CH3 at the end. And that's how I do that one. Let's have a look at a few different examples though. What about if I had a side group there and a side group on my next one? Okay, so this is 2,3-dimethyl butane. Here's how I'd answer this one. So I've got CH3, I've got my C with a H, and I've got this side group which goes in brackets, nice and big. I've then got my next C with a H, and this has got a methyl group, so again I need to put that in brackets, and then I've got my final CH3. Okay. Pray tell though, what happens if we have 2 methyl groups on the same carbon? What are we going to do now? It's pretty easy. CH3. Now I've got my C with no H's bonded to it, and attached to that is a CH3. So in brackets, CH3. Now I've also got another CH3 attached to that. So there's 2 ways you can do this. I can either draw out a whole other set of brackets, or rather than putting this bracket twice, I can just do it once and write a little 2 there. So that means you've got whatever's inside the brackets twice. So 2 methyl groups. And then moving on, I've got my CH2 and my CH3. So it would look like that. Okay? Don't get confused, this is not an ethyl group, this isn't a 2-carbon chain, this is 2 1-carbon chains. 2 1-carbon chains. I'm going to do an example now of a 2-carbon chain or an ethyl chain. So let's say I've got this bad boy there. So we've got our CH3 and our C with a H, and now we've got an ethyl group coming off. So I have to put the whole ethyl group in a set of brackets because it's a side chain, not part of the main chain. So I've got CH2, CH3, and that's all in brackets. And I've then got my CH2, CH3. So it looked like that. Okay, so if you are doing that thing where you stop the tape and have a go at the questions, I'll just do a couple more for you to get a bit of practice at. There's no new stuff to go over, so if you just wanted to do this as revision, you could stop the tape now. But if you wanted to do it as practice of the questions, you can keep on going. So have a try at this one. Try that. And here's how I'd answer it. So I've got my C, and I've got 3 CLs. So That's just Cl3. I've got another C with 2 hydrogens. I've got another C with 1 hydrogen, and I've got a CH3 side chain. I've not done that quite big enough, so I'll just make it a little bit bigger. There we go. And then finally, I've got a CH3. So it would look like that. Okay, we'll do one more. Can you have a go, please, at writing the structural formula for this? Okay, so if you want to have a go at that, we can do that now. And I'll now answer it. If you stop the tape then and wrote out the structural formula for all that, you are a bit of a tool, because there's a much faster way to do it. What we can do is, you've got your CH3, and then we've got CH2 repeated 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times. So we've got CH2 8 times. Now, if you've got a side group, you have to use brackets. You can't not use brackets in a side group. But you can also use brackets for another reason or another time. And that's if you've got a repeating unit. So I've got CH2 repeated 8 times. So I just put in brackets CH2 with an 8. And that tells me I have this 8 times. And at the end I've got another CH3. Now a few of you are probably thinking, in an exam, if they give me this, how am I going to know whether this is a side group or just a repeating unit in my main chain? And the way to figure it out is by looking at the number of hydrogens bonded to the carbon. If I had CH3 in here, because carbon can only make 4 bonds, this must be a side chain. Because it's CH2, that means the carbon's got 2 bonds spare, so it must be part of the main chain. So if you get brackets, you've got to really think about it. Is it a side chain or is it a repeating unit?